6:30 on what's going to be a big Wednesday here in South Florida. The third Republican presidential debate happening in Miami tonight. You're looking at the Adrienne Arsht Center for the Performing Arts, where tonight 5 Republican presidential hopefuls will be on the stage going head-to-head.
And here's a look from outside where NBC News is hosting the event as the focus now shifts to the 2024 presidential race.
Inside of the center, those candidates will be making their case to the American people just a day after voters went to the polls in several key states for yesterday's election.
Of course, our Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, businessman Vivek Ramaswamy, and also Senator Tim Scott will all be on the stage fielding questions.
So we have team coverage for you this morning. NBC6's Julia Bagg is live this morning. She is following Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' key endorsement he picked up this week.
Yeah, but first we're going to start with today's show's Craig Melvin. He is in Miami for us. And Craig, what can we expect from the candidates tonight?
I mean, they just said inboxes. We can't.
Chris, Constance, good morning to you. As you mentioned, we are about 13 and a half hours away from that debate stage behind me. 5 candidates, as you mentioned, taking the stage tonight. The first 2 debates, as you know, have been fairly contentious at times. Last night, the chairperson of the Republican National Committee, Ronna McDaniel, told me that she hopes that the slimmed down field tonight will force the candidates to focus a bit more on the issues and not as much on attacking the other candidates on stage. 5 candidates, as I mentioned. Of course, the elephant in the room. The front runner, former President Donald Trump, will not be on that debate stage for the 3rd straight time. Instead, he's hosting a rally roughly 20 miles from here at the exact same time. I asked the chairperson last night about that strategy, and she told me that she respects it. It's up to the president to decide whether he wants to participate. She does not feel like he is going to participate in any of the debates moving forward as well.
Craig, obviously momentum is going to be key. We saw after the last debate, Nikki Haley really picked up some steam and in some of the polls jumping ahead of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. So obviously with the narrowed down field tonight, these candidates are going to get a lot more time to make their points. What are we expecting to see once this gets started? Do you think that they're going to attack the former president, or are they going to stay away from that topic?
I think you'll see a combination of both of those strategies. I think you'll see a couple of the candidates go directly after the former president, or at least try to create some distance, some sunlight between himself, herself, and the former president. But I think you'll see others that probably won't. But the reality is, at this point, in most national polls, the former president holds 30, 40-point lead over his second closest competitor. Just this past week, that New York Times Siena poll had the former president ahead of President Biden in 6 of 7 key battleground states. So they're going to have to figure out how they can distinguish themselves tonight. They don't have a great deal of time left. But more importantly, and this is something that the chairperson also talked about last night, in the fundraising race, we're starting to see some of those donor dollars dry up. A lot of the big dollar donors have already picked their candidates. So it's not just about moving the needle in terms of the polling. It's also about using tonight to try and raise some money as well.
Yeah, you need money to keep that campaign going. All right, Craig Melvin live outside of the Adrienne Arsht Center for us. Craig, thanks so much.
Now to NBC6's Julia Bagg. The high-stakes debate tonight for the governor, who just landed a major endorsement out of Iowa. What can you tell us about that, Julia?
Well, Constance, the governor, he is going into tonight touting his support from Iowa's Governor Kim Reynolds after campaigning heavily in that state. And now he's looking for a big bounce when he takes the stage here tonight.
I truly believe that Ron is the right candidate to win.
Fresh off his endorsement from the Iowa governor, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis still has plenty of ground to make up behind former President Donald Trump. The latest NBC News Des Moines Register poll shows Trump far ahead at 43%, with DeSantis locked in a tie with former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley at 16%, and South Carolina Senator Tim Scott polling at 7%. NBC6 political analyst Mike Hernandez spoke of what DeSantis needs to do tonight.
I think it's a high bar for him. He needs to come out of this debate looking very strong and in charge, and welcoming everyone to his state and saying I could do battle here in the Sunshine State.
And the noticeable no-show tonight, Donald Trump will not be taking the stage, but he will be in town holding a rally across the county in very Republican Hialeah. Now back out live here at the debate stage, whether it's here in downtown Miami, Hialeah, elsewhere, you're going to need some help getting around these road closures. And for help with that, we've got NBC6's Joanna Torres to get you around everything that you need to get around. Joanna?
Well, Julia, with the debate happening right here in South Florida, as you mentioned, you might see some major delays and road closures, especially around the Adrian Arch Center and Hialeah. Here's what you can expect. So the following roads will be blocked between the hours of 1 p.m. and 1 a.m. So Biscayne Boulevard between Northeast 11th Street to Northeast 15th Street, and North Bayshore Drive between Northeast 13th Street to 15th Street will be completely closed, and all traffic traveling north and south will be rerouted. Also, the MacArthur Causeway westbound at exit 2, which is the Biscayne Boulevard exit, will also be closed during today's event. And the following roads will be blocked in Hialeah for former President Trump's rally at Henry Melander Park. Road closures begin at 9 a.m. today until midnight. And the following streets you see there on your screen will be closed at Palm Avenue from West 45th to West 49th Street. Also from East 45th Street to East 48th Street will be also closed between East 1st Avenue and Palm Avenue. So just make sure you get ready and prepare for the heavy traffic that will be expected today and plan those alternate routes. Chris and Constance.
All right, thanks so much, Joanna. And NBC nightly news anchor Lester Holt and Meet the Press moderator Kristen Welker will lead the debate, along with conservative commentator Hugh Hewitt. You can watch it right here on NBC6 starting at 8 p.m.
All right, we want to stick with local politics now, where a new mayor is coming to Miami Beach City Hall. But after election night, we still don't know who that new mayor is going to be. There's a runoff pending. The mayoral race heads to that key runoff election with Michael Gongora and Stephen Minor as the final two in this race. Both familiar faces to Miami Beach and Miami Beach voters and have served on the commission for years. Gongora and Minor focusing on both reducing crime and public safety during their campaigns, and both billed themselves as the law and order candidate. Here's what they had to say ahead of this runoff.
I really felt all along that what I was doing would resonate. And I'll tell you, I was sending out these flyers that would be 4 pages long talking about the issues, and people would tell me, what are you doing? That's not the way campaigns are run. I'm like, no, I think people are going to read this stuff. They're going to read what I'm writing. They're going to read about these issues that are important.
I am the only candidate that served our city 3 terms as commissioner that has been endorsed by all 3 of the remaining commissioners and the police, and will work to make our city safer.
Well, these candidates have 2 more weeks to campaign, with the runoff election now set for Tuesday, November 21st.
All right, our time now 6:38, and people in 3 districts in the city of Miami cast their ballots for who will represent them for the city commission. 2 of those races are now heading to runoff elections. One of those runoffs includes a Miami commissioner who's suspended after a host of corruption charges in September. Miami District 1, Miguel Gabella will face off against incumbent Alex Diaz de la Portilla. Diaz de la Portilla will be campaigning as he's facing legal charges at this time. He was arrested on corruption, money laundering, and bribery charges back in September, and then suspended by Governor Ron DeSantis. Here's what his opponent had to say about it.
That's a direct response to the citizens of Allapattah, Flagg-Amling, District 1, that they're tired of the same old antics in politics that he's given them 4 years ago.
Diaz de la Portilla ignored our request for interviews or any statements. In District 2, who represents Coconut Grove, Brooklyn, among other areas in Miami, there is going to be a runoff with Sabine Covo against Damian Pardone. Once again, the 3rd district up for grabs, and District 4, incumbent Manolo Reyes crushed a victory there with overwhelming 86% of votes. Runoff elections are scheduled to take place on November 21st.
Hialeah City Hall is getting a new face. The unofficial results show Angelica Pacheco has won the Group 4 seat in Hialeah City Council, garnering more than 52% of the vote, defeating the incumbent Vivian Casals Munoz. Pacheco lost the same matchup last year. Councilmember Monica Perez easily won her race to keep the Group 1 seat. We're, of course, going to have continuing coverage of the election and the election results. For more information on those results, you can get them anytime you need at NBC6.com and through the NBC6 app.
And the competitive races in dozens of states are providing insight into what voters are thinking ahead of the 2024 presidential election.
Which is a year away, right? The results show voters are remaining motivated by the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Here's what we know about Tuesday's elections based on the results that we saw. Voters in the state of Ohio approved 2 ballot measures. The first will preserve the right to access abortion care in the state's constitution. The second legalizes recreational marijuana use. Both amendments required 50% thresholds after voters rejected a measure to try and raise it this year.
Let's head to Kentucky, where Governor Andy Beshear won re-election and defeated Republican State Attorney General Daniel Cameron. Advocates say that his win is because of his support for abortion rights. Beshear's win means candidates and ballot measures supporting abortion rights remain undefeated since the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
And in Mississippi, Republican governor and incumbent Tate Reeves beat out Democrat Brandon Presley for the race for that state's governor's office. This comes after Presley announced his concession on Tuesday night. This is Tate Reeves' second term serving as governor of the Magnolia State.
And bad news for the state of Virginia for the Republicans there. The state held elections for the state Senate and House. Democrats held control of the upper chambers and flipped the state House. Governor Glenn Youngkin will have to spend the next 2 years working with the Democratic-controlled legislature.
Surprise move in Florida. The Seminole Tribe has reopened up its mobile sports betting platform. How are they able to do it despite the legal challenges that are continuing? We're going to let you know coming up.
Okay, time to walk Fluffy, and you got to come up to your screen and check this character out. This is Papa Bear. Papa Bear, the Frenchie, sending this picture in, or actually adding the hashtag It's Time to Walk Fluffy with this picture here on Instagram. Look at how cute this guy is. Let's zoom in on this face. He's decked out, ready to go for today, certainly. This is the forecast for this morning. It is a little warm. It is a little humid, mostly dry. A couple of spotty showers out there, but Papa Bear, I think you're going to be in good shape. I want to get your pet or pets on our air. Add that hashtag It's Time to Walk Fluffy when you post on Instagram and X. You can also send me a picture via Messenger on Facebook. We'll track a couple of those showers and your 7-day forecast coming up next.